didn't know that there are 3 meanings for subtraction. Most people think that there's only one, but subtraction means take away. And when children are in elementary school, that's usually the only one that they are taught. But actually, if you think about real life, there are 3 meanings. The first one is take away. So if you have 5 cookies and you eat 2 of them have been taken away, you now have 3 left. Another meaning of subtraction is to find the difference between 2 numbers. So let's say that Laura is 4 feet tall and Bob is 6 feet tall. You're going to find the difference between them by subtracting 6 minus 4. The last meaning of subtraction is whole and parts. So you have a whole amount and you know one part and you subtract to find the other part. So an example of this would be there are 6 people at the table, 2 of them are girls, how many are boys? So you know the whole amount is 6, you know that one part is 2, you don't know the other part, you have a missing part, and so you subtract to find that. The whole to part, or whole and parts method of thinking of subtraction is really the superior one because you can use that for any type of subtraction problem. You can use it for the difference type of problem because if you're finding the difference between Bob, who's 6 feet tall, and Laura, who's 4 feet tall, you know that Bob would be the whole, the biggest height that you have, and Laura is one part. You want to find the other part, which is the difference between them. And then for a takeaway, if you, let's say we have the cookie situation again. So what did I say? We have 6 cookies and we eat 2 of them. I don't know if that's what I said, but so we know 6 is the whole amount and we know that 2 is one part. It's the part that was eaten or taken away. And we want to know what's remaining, what's the other part, and that would be 4. So when teaching subtraction, it is far superior to teach the whole and parts method of thinking about numbers. Cuisinart rods are actually a very good concrete manipulative to use in teaching this and showing it to children clearly. Here is an example. We have a 6 rod and we have a 4 rod. And so let's say we have Bob and Laura. We want to know the difference between their heights, right? So we have the whole, which is Bob, because he's the biggest, the tallest here. And then we have one part, which is Laura's height. What is the other part? The missing part is the difference between them. To find that, we just find out what rod fits there, and that is the 2 rod. And so we know the difference between them is 2 feet. If we are talking about cookies, 6 cookies on my plate, and I eat 2 of them. So the 2 pieces of information I have are 6 cookies, 2 of them were taken away or eaten. The missing piece of information is the other part. I know the whole, I know one part. What is the other part? 4 cookies are left. For the last example, we had 6 people at the table, and I think I said 2 were girls. So we have a whole, 6 people. One part is 2 girls. What's the other part? 4 boys. So whole and parts method of thinking of subtraction works for any type of situation. And using the Cuisinart rods along with that makes it very clear to children what they need to do in each situation. As they get older and the numbers get larger, they can begin to draw models. You can call them bar diagrams or bar models. It would be the same thing. Let's say they draw a bar about this long for 60 and about this long for 20, then the missing piece would be 40 that they could draw in there, and they could label those. And of course, you can use much bigger numbers and more complicated, but this is an easy way to begin. Now, I got this information probably from the Singapore math curriculum. They use a whole and parts method of teaching. It's called number bonds, and it's very effective, much more effective than teaching families. They also use bar diagrams, which is drawing something like this. They don't actually use Cuisenaire, but their drawings are similar to this. I may also have gotten this information from the book Knowing and Teaching Elementary Mathematics. It's by Liping Ma, Lipingma. If you are interested in learning different ways to teach math than the way that you were taught here in the US, her book goes into the way that Chinese teachers understand and teach mathematics, and it's very different from the way that we were taught, well, the way you were probably taught here in the US. They teach more conceptually. They teach based on visualization of numbers rather than counting strategies. Counting strategies are very basic and really should probably be left behind after kindergarten. But what happens is in the US we continue to teach children to count on or to count back. And we want them to use their fingers or touch points, touch math, something like that, to count by ones forward or count by ones backward. And it is much more effective for children to learn how to visualize numbers, especially making tens and hundreds, and they will be able to even do math in their heads that way because they will fully understand place value and how to make tens with numbers. I will go into that in more detail in another video, but I just wanted to mention that here. So if you are a teacher and you teach mathematics, or you tutor children, or you're a homeschooler, you might want to look into the method of teaching whole and parts for subtraction and addition as well. Addition is that you know the two parts and you're trying to find the whole. And again, very clear with Cuisenaire. If we know 2 and 4 are the parts, then we know that 6 is the whole amount. 2 plus 4 equals 6.